Good morning. Thought I'd start off by playing a little bit for you. Well, here we are in the middle of this crazy situation. First of all, let me say good morning or good evening to my friends out there. I hope you're watching, and especially to my family down in Ohio, Hillary, Kevin, and Ava. All of us are affected one way or another. My family was visiting me right here last week, and my granddaughter Ava's school got closed down, like so many schools across the country, and we've had to make alternate plans, all of us, and that's why I guess we need to try to figure out some way to stay closer together during this difficult time. I want to say a special hi to my friends in Japan who we just learned today about the Olympics. What a sad and very, very challenging situation. I send my empathy and sympathy over there because I know all of the wonderful athletes that have been training and preparing for this event, and I just hope that somehow or other it can be a positive postponement, that it'll be even better in 2021 or when times are better. I guess it's the same in our field too. We prepare for our performances, and Right now, we're going to have to put them on hold. And for me, that means staying here in my studio, where you find me this morning. I am glad that I don't have to stay 6 feet away from my piano, because that's given me positive reinforcement about my life, about the choices that I made, and still the piano is where I guess I feel the most at home. For a jazz musician, practicing is challenging in a, I think, somewhat unique way, because some of the best aspects of jazz are the spontaneous improvised parts. It's always been the most fun, the most challenging for me to play something that comes directly from my mind at that moment, directly from my heart, if I can make it happen that way. And because of the fact that it's spontaneous and it happens right at that moment, you can't really exactly prepare for it in advance. You can't practice those moments. So one thing you can do is try to develop your technique so that when that spontaneous moment happens, you have a better chance of articulating it. And during this time, my practicing has primarily focused on one of my favorite composers, Domenico Scarlatti. I'm also thinking of Italy during this time, because they're struggling so much, and their crisis is right at the top of the list of the most people suffering. So I feel very compassionate, because it's such a beautiful country. I've visited there so many times, and amazing history of art and music in that country. So this composer, Scarlatti, wrote primarily for the piano, or for whatever was considered a piano in his time, closer to harpsichord, but some of the same characteristics of the piano that we play. And as a composer, most of Scarlatti's music was written as exercises for his students. And he wanted to give his students the opportunity to not just play some mechanical exercise thing, but an actual piece of music that had emotional content in it as well. So when I practice Scarlatti, it's both challenging, hopefully good for my technique, but also I love the music, I love the spirit of it, and an awful lot of, in fact, most of Scarlatti's music is very positive, very uplifting. I did make an album of Scarlatti's music many, many years ago called the Scarlatti Dialogues, and at that time I was very much interested in creating music with the help of the computer. And as I look back on that album, I believe the computer took over more than the piano playing did. And now I would like to approach Scarlatti in a very different way, in a vulnerable way as a pianist without any technology to aid me. And even though I'm not ready to play Scarlatti's music in a classical recital hall in a formal way, but since we're just here having our espresso or coffee or whatever your beverage choice is this morning or this evening, I'd like to play a Scarlatti piece for you. At the stage that it's in now, probably some mistakes along the way, but maybe it'll give you an idea of why I like to play Scarlatti. His music is in many ways a little bit the opposite of jazz. It's a very specific, and the more clear that I can make every note, I feel that I get closer and closer to Scarlatti's spirit. So that's what I'm aim for, and even though I don't ever really completely get there, actually classical music is crazy. Sometimes we listen to it as if we're listening for that mistake, because the great classical performers are so perfect that us human beings can't really ever hoped to get there. Anyway, I'm not going to give you any disclaimers. I just would like to play a little Scarlatti for you, and it's one that I memorized. So, hope you notice there's no sheet music in front of me for this one, which gives me another possible excuse if I forget. If I recall correctly, this is, the Scarlatti's sonatas were numbered, and this one is, I believe, I'll check it later, 449. Well, I got through it better than I thought I would. But the concentration required for this music is pretty extreme. And as I was saying earlier about the difference between the approach, classical music and jazz, is that when we improvise, if a wrong note or a note comes along that we didn't expect, or some lack of concentration, we can always shift and change it to something else because it is spontaneous, and we can even get it into our minds that we can project to the audience that that mistake that we made was intentional, that we meant it was part of the music, and then adjust the music accordingly. When you're playing Scarlatti, you can't really do that because I'm sure there are many, many Scarlatti pianists out there who are very familiar with this piece, and if they're listening to it, if I play a wrong note, they know it immediately. So, nevertheless, we keep marching forward with the idea that we hope that we can keep getting better. And I guess that's the spirit that we're in today too. We keep marching forward with the idea that things are going to get better in the world. And I really always feel that music has a special role. Music is not about words or specifics, it's not about politics, it's not about prejudice, it's not about anything except emotion. And it speaks in a different way than other subjects. I guess that's why I love it so much. And I guess that's also why, for those of you who have chosen to spend a little time with me today, that I really appreciate it. I want to let you know that. And this is my way of telling you that I hope that I can see you under closer circumstances where actually it'd be nice to get a little applause. It sounds pretty quiet here in this room, and I have to imagine that you're out there listening to me. And I don't have any kind of assistant here. I think with this live thing that there's a way to make comments, but I can't even see what your comments are. So I'll have to wait till afterwards. Hopefully there's a live video that gets saved. I don't even know this technology. Maybe some of you will help me out. And if we get it wrong today, I hope to come back to you at the same time tomorrow. We can even discuss whether there's a better time. This one just seemed to be sort of okay for people listening from different time zones. But anyway, bottom line, thank you for joining me this morning. Maybe I should play one more piece for you, and we'll take some notes. Hopefully I'll listen to what you have to say and respond to you, and hope to see you again tomorrow. Here's a piece from my Espresso album. The piece is called One Afternoon. I guess it's afternoon over in Europe if you're watching over there. It's a very personal piece for me. On the album, it was recorded in a kind of symphonic orchestral version. I originally composed it as a solo piano piece in a very almost improvised kind of way, but I'd like to play you the solo piano version today, and here it is, One Afternoon. safe out there, everybody. Hope to see you tomorrow.